shut up and sit down.
Welcome to Sarge Approved. I am your host, Sarge, with my co-host, Frenzy. How's it going, Frenzy?
Super duper good. How are you?
So good. We have, for the first time ever, we have a guest host tonight, Mr. Larry Roberts.
What's happening, y'all?
Hey.
Welcome me back. Thank you.
You're like our fastest returning guest. And our first guest host. We had Larry on last night.
Yeah.
And now we're like family.
We just couldn't get enough of Larry.
Yeah, he's moving in and everything.
Yeah, it's a common problem I have. Everybody just can't get enough.
Not only because Larry's such an awesome guy, but he holds a specific expertise, and one of the main reasons we're having him on tonight is because our guest this evening is Jesalyn Mae Harper, a.k.a. Kenpo Girl. Martial arts expert. How's it going, Jesalyn?
Hi, Jesalyn.
Good. Happy to be here.
Glad
Thanks
to have
for
you.
us.
So Larry has a lot of experience, a pretty extensive background, it appears, in martial arts and American Kenpo, which is kind of your specialty. Is it not, Jesalyn?
Yes, that's my main style that I study.
So, I mean, how perfect is that? You're... Go ahead.
I'm not a black belt quite yet. I'm a third brown belt. In my system, there are 3 levels of brown belt before you reach black belt. But once you reach black belt, you're considered not an expert, but you're experienced. You're right there on the cusp of graduating to being like a professor and knowing, everything. I've been doing this for a couple of years. I started when I was younger and got back into it as an adult. And American Kenpo is my dominant main system and style in martial arts that I study. I do study eskrima, which is a Filipino stick fighting on the side.
That sounds
That's
badass.
kind of my weapons training. Yeah. So those are my 2 things I mainly focus on, but I do read up a lot on different systems and talk to different people that do all different styles and systems in martial arts as well.
Very cool.
Let's take this opportunity to pause a second to hear from our sponsor. Welcome back to Sarge Approved. Frenzy, Larry, Jesalyn.
What's up?
All right, let's talk some martial arts, huh?
Yeah.
Larry,
yes.
Larry, you want to lead us off?
I guess I'll just kind of put out there a little bit of my training. I hold a 2nd degree black belt in American Kenpo. I hold a 1st degree black belt. Yeah, thank you. Bows. I hold a 1st degree black belt in a specific style of Taekwondo, Mudokwan Taekwondo, to be specific. And then I hold a 1st degree black belt in, we'll just leave it generic and call it American Karate, because that's kind of what it is. It's just kind of an amalgamation of a variety of different styles and opportunities for soccer moms to bring their kids to karate instead of taking them to the soccer field.
There we go. I love it.
Leave it up to an American style of anything to be basically a mutt.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a bunch of different styles just all kind of glued together to make one cool American karate
see,
style.
I prefer to call it a Heinz 57.
There you go.
There you go.
Why is that? I don't get it.
Oh, like the ketchup, the Heinz 57?
Yeah.
57 different varieties?
Oh.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
it. There's all different types. So
all the things
the
are
girls got
involved.
it.
Yeah.
The girls got it.
Actually, I got it too, kind of.
Okay.
I've never claimed to be a smart man. That's okay, though. You get by.
Yeah. Hey.
You figure it out.
Bye.
Yeah.
I adapt and overcome. So,
there you go.
Larry, sounds like you got a pretty nice resume there, and you're definitely qualified to talk to our guest this evening.
Well, I'd like to think so.
There you go.
So, Jesalyn, I stalked you a little bit on Facebook because that's kind of one of my jobs is I'm the co-host, the guest coordinator, and the guest stalker. And took a look at your page and saw that there was an event that you did last weekend, was it? Where there was some kids that you were kind of showing some moves to and doing all of that. How did you get involved with that? Was it just something that at the dojo that they do, or what's the scoop with that?
What it is at the home dojo that I'm based out of, it's actually required once you reach a certain rank, for us it's brown belt, to start being active with the dojo and helping teach the younger kids.
That's awesome.
We really stress that because once you get to black belt, a lot of people view black belt as, I've reached the status, I've done all my training, well, what now? Well, the black belt in American Kenpo is called a Sifu. You guys have probably heard of the word sensei.
Yes.
Sifu is just another term for teacher.
Okay.
And so once you achieve the black belt, you automatically become a Sifu.
Okay.
So it's part of our training to not just learn the techniques to fighting and self-defense, but it's also learning how to teach the next generation that's going to come up behind you.
Very cool.
So we have a peewee and junior class at the dojo I train at, and I'm always there. I absolutely love teaching. So I'm always there helping with the Kenpo classes, and it was just this summer that we started a junior Eskrima class. And the Eskrima, again, is the Filipino stick fighting system, and the kids love it.
So you got little kids. You got little
I
kids.
bet they do.
You have a bunch of little kids beating the shit out of each other with sticks.
Well, we don't have, not exactly. It sounds like that, but it's actually a very well coordinated circus going on.
Okay.
It's not the peewees that do it, it's the juniors, and these kids are ranging from 9 to about 13 or 14.
Okay.
And they have a respect for the sticks, and they do really well. In fact,
respect the
I
stick.
posted that video of them all working out on the mat, and I had people all the way from Indonesia asking how we got so many kids on one mat to do it. And the truth is, they love it. The kids love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, I used
That's
to love
kind of
hitting
my
things with a stick
active
when I was
role.
that age.
Yeah. Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Yeah.
I mean, and they get all this anger and frustration out, and then they go home in good mood. So the parents are winning too, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like giving your kid melatonin. Like, hey, go work out whatever you got going on, and come home and go to bed. That's cool.
Yes, pretty much.
I got to tell you that even with sticks, my daughter trained with me when she was younger. Actually, I taught the peewees as well. I think we called them little dragons. And even with sticks, I couldn't get them to mind for anything. I'd slap the crap out of them, and they'd just stand there.
Yeah, see, that's we don't give the sticks to the peewees because our peewees would hit back. They're spunky enough; they would probably hit back.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, the juniors are well behaved enough that we're able to do it, and then we have the adult class that does the sticks as well. So at our dojo, we're primarily a Kenpo school, which is how I got the name Kenpo Girl. But we do side stuff with the Eskrima and Kali for fun. That's kind of our fun thing that we do.
That's pretty common with Kenpo, isn't it?
I feel it is because, Kenpo is dominantly an empty-handed system.
Right.
So I find that usually people that do Kenpo, if they do some form of some form of weapons training, they're usually either doing the bow staff, or they're doing some form of Kali.
Right.
And I really think that the reason Kali has become so associated in some groups of Kenpo is primarily with the California Kenpo. is because we're close to that Filipino culture.
Sure.
Okay.
So I do know a lot of Kenpoists that do study the Kali, and I've noticed that the Kali and the Eskrima is starting to become more common in other systems in California as well. So it's definitely a growing, interest with everyone. And with the Filipino systems, too, we're starting to see a lot more interest in the Filipino knife work, where a lot of people want to work the different knife systems, and they want to know how to defend against them because it's becoming such a common thing, especially with the internet and with videos online.
Yeah.
Everyone sees it, and they're like, oh, I got to do that. And, no matter where you go, no matter what system, what language, or anything, as soon as you start talking about knives with a martial artist, their face lights up. Everyone enjoys working with knives. It's like...
Until they get cut with one.
Yeah.
Yeah, until they get cut, everything's
this
good.
sucks.
Everything is good until someone gets hurt.
Right.
That's just the rule of anything. But that's kind of where I think the Kali and the Eskrima is starting to become more popular with Kenpo. And for us, it's more common because I study under my grandmaster is Huck Planis, and him and his brother are very interested in the Eskrima. His brother is a guru at it. They're both very gifted in the sticks. And so, naturally when we're studying under them, we look up to them and we want to do what they do. So we enjoy it at our dojo quite a bit.
You want to give your dojo a shout out? What's your dojo called?
We're Double Dragon Kenpo Karate in Sanger, California.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Double Dragon.
Yes. Double
I like
Dragon.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my instructor is J.R. Diaz. He's a 7th degree black belt in
That's
American
good, right?
Kenpo. Yeah, that's very good.
Okay.
That's very good. So pretty much to explain to everyone what that is, when you get your black belt in Kenpo, you continue to regularly, if you continue to study, get promotions. So Larry is a second. So he's had his black belt, but after a period of time, he's been, promoted to a second. For our lineage, under Sifu Planis, when you get your black belt, you're averaging every 5 years in between belts.
Oh, wow.
So for him to be a 7th, it shows how long. I mean, he's been doing Kenpo, I want to say a little over 40 years. So he's been doing this a really, really long time.
So now, your instructor, your lineage is Huck Planis, is that correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Planis, he was promoted to his first dan, I believe, directly under Mr. Parker, who created the system of American Kenpo Karate, correct?
Yes.
Really?
Sifu Planis, Sifu Planis was one of the kind of original students that worked with Grandmaster Parker back in the day. In fact, he used to help run the Pasadena school that was kind of the founding school in California. So his nickname in Kenpo is the Living Encyclopedia of Kenpo. He was very active with Grandmaster Parker when he was writing the book on Kenpo and doing everything. So he goes way back, and he's actually a 10th degree black belt.
Wow.
So that's actually the highest you can go in American Kenpo.
That's
so
awesome.
He's been around for a long time.
So, Jesalyn,
He's seen it all.
I have to ask, being a Kenpo practitioner, are you familiar with Jeff Speakman? And
yes.
Have you seen The Perfect Weapon?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
If you are a Kenpoist and you haven't seen The Perfect Weapon yet, it is sacrilegious.
Exactly.
It's sacrilegious.
What is the perfect weapon?
Well, Jeff Speakman is a high-ranking black belt in American Kenpo that studied under Grandmaster Parker, and he is a successful actor, and he specifically was casted for his martial arts skills. And so when you're watching The Perfect Weapon, a martial arts film, and you see a lot of the work he's doing, it's all based off of Kenpo. So that's why Kenpoists just go nuts over it.
That sounds familiar now that you say it's a movie.
honestly, it's not just Kenpo work, and Kenpoists don't just recognize it, but you can literally pick out every self-defense technique he's doing throughout the movie. You go, oh, there's thundering hammers. Oh, there's 5 swords. Oh, there, it just goes on. And we used to get together, and we just have a party over it. Every time we watched it, it was, ha, you see that?
Exactly. And Jeff Speakman is still around today teaching. He actually has a special brand of Kenpo, and he's based out of Las Vegas. So there's actually a lot of Kenpo on the West Coast.
Okay.
It's pretty common. In fact, not a lot of people know. People in martial arts know, but you guys probably don't know. Elvis Presley was actually a 7th degree black belt in American Kenpo.
What?
Yes. Honorary. There's some dispute about that, but yeah, he
was
he
it basically
is actually well, I never met Elvis, obviously.
Me neither.
And every person I've talked to said, he did know most of his stuff and everything. But, when you're a movie star, you can't be going into the dojo and getting roughed up every day.
Is that where he got those sweet dance moves from? All that hip shit he used to do?
To be honest, there in his later years, like the satin Elvis with the big collar and the long sash.
Yeah.
He was actually, you can pinpoint straight Kenpo techniques in his dance moves.
When he was doing those kicks?
When he was doing the kicks, and he would hold his fingers out in a certain, his first 2 fingers and his thumb were extended. That's kind of a traditional hand posturing for Kenpo. Yeah,
interesting.
And one of the
Interesting.
Red, God, I can't remember his last name. If you've ever seen the movie Roadhouse, the guy that owned the parts house in Roadhouse, Red, whatever his name is, he was in the Elvis. What do you call it? The group. Everybody ran around with him. He was one of the groupies.
His posse.
And he trained directly under Mr. Parker as well.
Huh.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. So there's a lot of deep roots with Kenpo. It's just not a lot of people know the difference and can tell. So.
I have a question for you, Jesalyn, but I first need to make a comment before I ask you the question. I think that it's super badass what you do and what you're passionate about, and I think that of course, and I think that especially as a female, it's I mean, you probably haven't had a super difficult time getting into it, but at the same time, just being a female and like having the training that you've done and the things that you're doing, for me, like as women, I feel like there's so many women that don't kind of support each other. Like they compete with each other more often than supporting each other.
Women are catty, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So, and I'm not one of those. I am not one of those women. I'm more like a guy versus if you had to pick, like you're more like a guy, girl. I'm totally a guy. But I think that it's awesome that you are invested in what you're doing and passionate about what you're doing. But how did you even get started into this whole Kenpo thing, and what kind of brought it on?
Well, it goes way back to when I was about 9 years old. I grew up in a really rural community, real small mountain community, just outside of Sanger, Dunlap, California. And my instructor was very involved in a program that we had called DARE. And it was pretty much an anti-drug and gang violence.
I was in DARE.
Program.
I was in DARE too. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So my instructor would volunteer to go with DARE officers to schools and do demonstrations and to talk to kids. And he was known as the karate guy. So he would show up in his gi, his uniform, and he'd do, demonstrations and whatever and talk to kids about, not doing drugs and whatever.
Yeah.
So he came to our school, and everyone at the school was so blown away with his presentation and was so interested that the vice principal actually ended up getting an after-school program going. It was, I want to say it was once or twice a week after school. He would drive up to the mountains, and he would teach us karate at the community center.
Cool.
So I pretty much begged my mom and dad to let me do this. I really wanted to do it. And when they found out that American Kenpo is self-defense, that's what we focus on, is self-defense, my dad signed me and my brother up for it. Now, unfortunately, a few months after that, we ended up losing the funding for the program at our school. So my mom ended up driving from the community to the dojo in Sanger so we could continue to study. And that was about a 2-hour round trip.
Oh,
wow.
To drive. And this was 2 times a week.
You had a good mom.
I know, right?
Yeah,
I was
badass mom.
Yeah, so we continued to do it for a while, but eventually my brother wasn't as dedicated to it as I was, and he started to want to drop out. And with that drive, it was hard for my parents to justify driving me that much by myself.
Right.
So what ended up happening is at Purple Belt, which, is above a beginner. It's not advanced, but, intermediate level, I was unfortunately pulled out. But I always wanted, it sat with me that I always wanted to go back. So many, many years later, I ran into my instructor and he got me back on the mat, and it was like I had never left. I picked it up immediately and started going through, passing my promotions, and I made it to brown belt very quickly. Kenpo has just always been, a natural talent for me. And so that was kind of how I got to where I am now in my Kenpo. And I've had a bunch of other stuff pop up since. So
very cool.
I've got a very serious and very important question that I need to ask you, Jesalyn. Do you fight crime at night? You are the Kenpo girl.
Superhero style.
Do you don a cape and some kind of mask and fight crime at night?
I've never had anyone ask me that. And, if I answered that, I'd probably have to kill you.
And you probably could.
Just saying. If I had to tell you that, I'd probably have to kill you.
Yes, you would.
I've had people ask me if I'm a spy. I've had a couple of people ask me, are you a spy? I go, if I tell you, I'd have to kill you. That's just my go-to answer, I can't give away my secrets. So...
we need to we need a Kenpo girl costume, like her crime fighting costume.
There you go. I am actually getting ready. It's going to be for my online website and Facebook. It's coming up on 1 year for Kenpo Girl. So awesome. I am thinking about releasing a T-shirt line for Kenpo Girl for anyone that wants to support it and everything. So that is kind of one of the things.
I'll buy some Kenpo Girl merch.
So
yeah,
totally in.
You get some printed up, and we'll rock some Kenpo Girl stuff.
There you go.
We're gonna wear some Kenpo Girl shirts and some accidentally the whole tip hats.
Yeah. I don't think you'll want to mix that.
Why not?
Why? You can just mix all the things.
A mixed message.
We'll do a collaborative shirt or something. It'll be like accidentally the whole Kenpo Girl.
Wow. now, Jesalyn, just by the implications of the name, I mean, you are over 18, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yes. Cool. I mean, I wasn't hitting on you, but.
Let me explain how I got the name Kenpo Girl. Because I've had a lot of people that actually accuse me of naming myself that. And I didn't at all. Yes, okay. There's been a lot of confusion on that. And what happened was, when I got back on the mat, I had never really been exposed to any other systems. I had never been to any other dojos, never done a tournament. I had pretty much been sheltered. I had never left the dojo. And so what happened was, my instructor was invited to go up to Oregon and teach a seminar up there. And he invited a couple of us to go up there and participate. So I went up to Toledo, Oregon, which is True Lineage Kenpo. close family with Double Dragon. They're under J.R. Diaz as well. So we went up to True Lineage, and I'm an author too. So when I was writing actively and had all this going on, I was posting videos of me working out and explaining to everyone that when I choreograph my action scenes, it's based off of my actual Kenpo training. And so all of these videos I was posting was getting a bunch of views, bunch of likes. So when I went up, and I never really thought anything of it, I just thought, oh, this is selling books, okay. So when we went up to True Lineage and I came in, everyone knew who I was and was so excited and came running up.
Cool.
Well, no one could pronounce my name, Jesalyn.
Really?
What?
So, yeah, they can.
How do they pronounce
They had seen it spelled. Well, usually I get Jocelyn or Jacqueline. I never get Jesalyn.
That makes no sense. Were they like illiterate or could they not read?
No, it's. That's gone back as long as I've been little, and I like the way it sounded, and that's what they were calling me. So actually, that weekend, I had such an awesome time visiting with them, talking about Kenpo and martial arts, and being outside of my comfort zone, and seeing different ways that they were training on doing stuff. That I decided I wanted to keep in contact through them. And I wanted to be able to reach out to other dojos. So I started a Facebook page called Kenpo Girl. And Kenpo Girl, regardless of the name, has always been dedicated to all different styles, all different systems. So for Kenpo Girl, it was posting memes about, different martial arts stuff, and it was to create a dialogue between different martial artists from different systems and everything, to get us talking. Mm-hmm. And it became such a hit that I had people, and I started getting invited to events and going to events and taking pictures, and people started saying, you're such a talented writer, they said, and you're going and doing all this stuff. You should start a blog, and you should write about your experiences when you go to this stuff. So I started Kenpo Girl, the website, kenpogirl.com, and my goal was to write articles about martial arts that anyone from any system could relate to, and they were going to focus on issues in the martial arts community. And, and going and talking to various people and everything. My first big interview, I had done a couple of articles, but my first big interview, I was invited to a UFC seminar down in Van Nuys in California. And it had a couple of UFC fighters. One is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Carlos Conduit, Alan Jorbane. Yeah, I mean, there were a bunch of guys there.
Nice.
Yeah. And I was invited, since I helped promote the event, to interview them and to do an article. And, I had never been to a UFC gym before. I didn't even really know anything about MMA. It had never been on my radar. That's why I do Kenpo Girl.
When was this?
This was in May of 2016.
I was going to say, those names that you're dropping there, those are recent names. So, matter of fact, Wonder Boy's fighting next month for the title again.
He is.
What year was this?
This was last year, 2016.
Okay. 2016, yeah.
Yes. So I got to interview them, and going to these different events, it was expanding my knowledge of martial arts, because now I'm getting exposed to stuff I normally wouldn't at the dojo. So that's kind of how I started following UFC and everything. It piqued my interest, and I started getting invited to more events, and more people wanted me to interview them and to do articles, and more issues in the martial arts community started to fall on my lap, where people wanted to discuss them with me. One of the issues that kind of goes hand in hand in what we were talking about earlier, my most recent article is actually on something called female cannibalism. And what it is it's a coined term for when females turn on each other and they start bullying on each other.
Being catty.
And it's actually, yes. And
which happens way
me,
more often than it needs to happen.
Yes. For me, catty is just
different.
for me, being catty is kind of just having your moments. This is full-on female bullying. And it's really happening a lot in a lot of dojos for various reasons. And so I wrote an article discussing female cannibalism, and I interviewed Michelle Manu, who actually is a female in Lua, which is Polynesian martial arts. And she's one of the only female instructors, I guess you would say a female black belt in Lua. And it's a topic that she's very passionate about. Because she's had a lot of instances where she's been a victim of female cannibalism. So I interviewed her and talked about her system. So those are kind of the types of articles that you would see on Kenpo Girl. Anyone can read them and relate to them.
Right. I'd be interested to hear what you're, just real, briefly, 30 seconds. What are your thoughts on some of the main promoters of female cannibalism? I mean, it seems to me like, especially being in a karate school for years and years and years and years and years, it seems to me that it's almost like a positioning for the alpha male, but maybe I'm putting too much of a male spin on it, so I'm kind of curious as to what your take is.
No, I agree 100%, and this is something that me and Michelle have discussed a lot. I feel like there's a bunch of contributing factors, but the number one contributing factor is an insecure female in an unhealthy state of mind. And when a female is in an unhealthy state of mind, she feels attacked. And as a martial artist, you're trained to attack what's attacking you. And if you're not in a healthy state of mind and you're seeing enemies where there are friends, you're going to attack your friends without even realizing it. And I do feel one of the contributing factors that at times can lead to it escalating is the lack of female matriarchs in different martial arts systems. There's no older, wiser female that can recognize that behavior and help that woman through it and correct the behavior. And that was kind of one of the things that I explain is these women are in an unhealthy state of minds, and instead of attacking them back, we need to, as martial artists, understand the attack, understand that the proper defense is not to attack back, but it's kind of to pity them. They're obviously struggling internally. And that's kind of one of the things is, you know, we can be badasses. We can tear people limb from limb, but in the end, I think what really makes a good martial artist is compassion and understanding.
Right.
So that's, you know, I don't know if that makes sense to the gentleman. You know, it goes hand in hand with female, you know, it's female nature to want to be, you know, big and bad and I'm good, and they want to succeed. The problem is when we start seeing enemies where there are friends and not working together.
Right. They're not connected, and also I think that it has to do with, I don't know, like, for me, like, the women that are going to be haters about it or that are not going to be wanting to connect about it are the ones that are not confident because they've had whatever going on in their life, whether it's a shitty boyfriend or crappy friends or whatever it is, like, they just don't have the confidence to be that strong female. Like, there's just people that just don't have that, you know, and no matter what you do. Go ahead.
And there's some women that don't know how to not only be that strong female role, they don't know what it takes. They don't know where to start. And, you know, if there's no one there to show them how to properly do it, how to have compassion for each other, how to, you know, work together and support each other, you know, it can turn into a bloodbath. I mean,
Absolutely.
You know, the bullying cannot just be verbal. In a dojo, it could turn physical, and it could drive someone away from something they really need, is that empowerment that they're learning.
And it ends with women eating each other.
Yes.
Literally eating each other. Do we have to call it, is that really the term, female cannibalism? They couldn't come up with something besides cannibalism? I mean, can't you just call it female bullying or something?
Yeah, I think the reason they use the term cannibalism is because it's on such a deeper level than bullying. It, is gossiping. It follows you outside the dojo. It follows you on social media. It starts to infect your friends and family. It literally consumes the
that's
person.
what I was going to say. It consumes you.
It's consuming. Yes. And, I don't want it to sound like this is just happening with females. There are some extreme cases where, men turn on each other as well. But there's that support group.
Well.
Yeah, there's that support group of, but we're a brotherhood. I feel like the guys have had more practice at this, so they've kind of smoothed it out a little bit better than us women.
No, we just take it to the mat, and whoever is standing at the end of it is the one.
Yeah. We don't hold grudges.
Yeah, we talked about that too. We talked about that too, where that works with guys. See, I grew up in a male house. There were a lot of males in our house, and my parents were always take care of it, take it outside and deal with it. And I have that mentality. But for a woman that's in an unhealthy frame of mind, that can actually escalate and make things even worse.
I watched Snapped, I know.
Yeah, I mean, women. I mean, regardless if you want to agree with it or not, women most women. Not saying that you do or that I do or whoever. I'm just saying that most women tend to think with their emotions more than their brain a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. So when you have that kind of conflict going on inside you or whatever it is, there's kind of this thing that you just kind of, some women just choose to not be supportive for whatever reason, whether that's something that's going on with them or jealousy or
it always stems back to insecurity
or whatever it is. Women are just that way, unfortunately.
And for a female in martial arts, it's not just other females that I've had an issue with when I do martial arts. I actually wrote about a really embarrassing moment in an article. I was discussing body stereotyping in martial arts, and I am a lean woman. I'm not curvy. I'm not big boned or anything. I'm a lean woman, but I'm not ripped like Ronda Rousey. And I compare myself to Ronda Rousey in this article. I don't look like her. I'm the same height, right, but I'm not ripped like that. And I was actually at a grocery store, and I had a karate shirt on. And this guy came up to me, and I could tell he was looking at the shirt. And he made the comment of, "Is that your shirt?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "You do karate?" And I laughed. I said, "Yes." I said, I work out and do the karate. He goes, "Oh, wow." And the way he kind of said it, I kind of laughed and said, "What, is that surprising?" Because that's kind of how it came out. And he goes, "Well, you don't really look like you do karate." And I said, "Excuse me?" And he goes, "Well, you don't really have that body that's for martial arts." And I realized then, I realized then it was okay, yeah, I'm not going to be ripped, and I looked at him and I said, that's why I do martial arts. Martial arts is an equalizer. I don't have to be ripped to tear you limb from limb. And then he just kind of walked away at that point of time. So, there's a lot of stereotyping that goes along with martial arts, not just in the dojo where, as a female you're having to deal with the catty political dynamics going on, but you're also having to deal with people outside that have this preconceived notion of what martial arts is and what women are, and in their world, those don't go together. And it's getting better, but there's still that preconceived notion that, well, these don't go together. This doesn't make sense. Why would you want to do that?
I think you're seeing females compete in MMA. You're seeing the Ronda Rouseys, and now you've got the Angela Nunez. Is it Angela Nunez? She's the new champ.
Amanda
You got
Nunes.
Holly Holm. Amanda,
Yes.
there we go. Sorry. I actually know an Angela Nunez. It's not the same person. You got Holly Holmes, and you have what's Cupcake? What's her name? She just retired. Anyways, you're seeing a lot of female influx into the mixed martial arts arena, and you're seeing a lot of success, and you're seeing their abilities are starting to be showcased as well. Whereas when they first started the women's division, the competition wasn't exactly the stiffest, even amongst woman on woman, because you're never going to have a mixed fight. But now you're seeing, I mean, some of these, not some of them, the vast majority of the women that are competing in the UFC today, I wouldn't want to scrap with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of where the public is. That's their exposure to martial arts is the UFC, and so that's where they're getting these ideas of is, oh, well, martial artist people, look how ripped they are on UFC. Well, that's not the only venue of martial arts. Those aren't the only martial artists out there in the world.
Well, I can relate to that too.
That's just what they're being exposed to.
I was 6'4" and $155 when I first started kickboxing, so not exactly the most intimidating black belt out there.
But that's the thing that I tell everyone. Martial arts isn't about having to build yourself up to fight in a UFC cage. It's about empowering yourself and leveling the field. My instructor always says martial arts was created for women. It's an equalizer. I don't have to be able to lift 150 pounds to pick up a guy and throw him across the room.
Yeah,
I can still break him down. It doesn't matter what my body is like. I can, as long as I know where to go, how to move, and what I'm doing, the knowledge is what makes you dangerous. If that makes any sense to you guys.
Oh, that makes total sense. Knowledge is power.
There was some video circling around for a while, and I absolutely loved it. When I needed a good laugh, I watched it. And it was that guy that came into a jiu-jitsu school, and he was a bodybuilder, and he's and he ends up rolling with that girl, and it's like, as you can see, it doesn't matter when it comes to bronze. If you don't have the brains and the knowledge of what you're doing, you're not going to make it. You're going to sink to the bottom.
I'll tell you straight up that 15 years ago, when I was still training, even probably longer than that, I don't know, when I was training competitively, I ran into a female purple belt, and she would tap the shit out of me every night. I think I might have got her once. But, I'm like, all right, after the gym, everybody else is gone. It's just me and her and a few other guys, that train for the fight team. And then I would let her tap me, but you can't do this in front of everybody else. Stop that.
It's that ego.
Yep.
No ego.
You don't want some girl making you tap out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and at our dojo we have kind of a different. We don't really train for tournaments. In fact, I've actually never competed at a tournament. I've been to watch tournaments, but that's it. All of our training is really just self-defense. What are you doing if you're walking down an alleyway and a guy grabs you? What do you do if someone's trying to pull you into a car? And whenever we're training and we're sparring, there you go. Call Kenpo Girl.
You need the Kenpo Girl signal.
That would be an interesting signal. That would be interesting.
Yeah,
it would be like a female symbol up in the air.
Yeah, just your silhouette of you and your Kenpo fighting stance.
Well, if I have a light, I'm gonna need a Kenpo Girl song.
Oh yeah,
that just goes hand in hand.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to have a song.
We gotta get you a theme song.
There you go. No, this last year has been like a real trip because when I started writing these articles, I was kind of just doing them for fun. I didn't think anyone was actually reading them or following them. I was just like, hey, this is my opinion, take it or leave it. And now that when I go to some events or I'll be out in the public and I hear someone yelling Kenpo Girl, it's a trip.
Nice.
At first I used to turn around and look and I was like, do I run is this fight or flight? Like, what do I do? Do I run? Do I smile? But everyone's been really supportive. Everyone's really, I was actually surprised. I knew I would have good support from the Kenpo community. I didn't realize I would have so much support from all the other systems and from everyone else. And, everyone that has read the article has been so excited. I mean, I was actually shocked. I wrote an article that featured sumo, and that was part of the body stereotyping. And all of a sudden, all of my Kenpo following, I had all these sumo wrestlers that were following me and that were, liking all my stuff. And then I did a Kung Fu article, and all these Kung Fu people started following me. And so I'm not quite at a year yet. It'll be at the end of this month, beginning of March, will be my 1 year for my Facebook, Kenpo Girl. Mm-hmm. And I'm already over, I believe the last time I checked, I was over 1,200 likes.
Beautiful.
So,
well, okay, but
for 1 year.
With sumo wrestling, don't you think body stereotyping is kind of necessary with sumo wrestling?
Actually, well, and that's what a lot of people think. But for the sumo wrestling, a lot of people automatically picture these huge, fat sumo guys. What they don't know is the professional sumo rinks in Japan, there is no weight class. So the bigger you are, the more likely you're going to win because you're in with little guys. There is no actual weight division. But in the United States, we have the Sumo Federation that actually has weight divisions. So you're seeing less and less sumo wrestlers that are that big, that are more of the different body types and styles. And because of that opening, that branching from the traditional sumo, we actually have female sumo wrestlers now that actually compete. Where in the traditional sumo, it's actually bad luck and it's shunned for females to step into the sumo ring. It brings bad luck to the ring. Yeah.
Bad luck?
We don't want to ruin any male egos in the traditional sense. So that's why they don't let us in the ring. So, now we have all of these different, stuff branching out. So a lot of people, when they think sumo, and I talked about that, when people hear Kung Fu, they think of a little, Japanese or Asian person in silk pajamas. When they hear Kenpo, if they know what Kenpo is, they automatically think of, larger males that like Elvis. When you hear sumo, you automatically assume these huge Japanese guys that can barely walk. But in reality, it's not necessarily like that. In fact, to be honest, if I had to grapple with a female sumo wrestler, I would be scared. Totally scared, because they're so powerful. They're so strong. But no one realizes that because it's stereotyped that way.
Yeah, when I hear Kung Fu, I think of David Carradine.
Yeah.
Was he Kenpo?
No, he was, Kung Fu. He was the,
Kung Fu,
the show. You may not even be old enough. I don't even know how old
No, I thought you said Kenpo.
Oh, no, I said when I hear Kung Fu, I think of David Carradine.
Yeah, and that's, I have a lot of people that, they don't know the systems. When I first sat down and talked to a friend about Kung Fu, there were a lot of things that I myself was confused about. Even as a Kenpoist and someone in the martial arts community, I told her, I'm just so confused on some of this Kung Fu stuff. And she said, it was so sad because I had all these preconceived, stereotypes about Kung Fu. But when I sat down and talked to her, she was like, oh, no. And she explained everything in detail and in layman's terms for me. And I walked away expanding my education because I actually took the time to talk to her about it. I think a lot of times in martial arts, we tend to get elitist to whatever system we're studying. For me, I enjoy Kenpo. I love Kenpo. It provides everything that I myself need out of a martial art. Now, I have friends that do jiu-jitsu. They do not like striking. They don't want to do a stand-up striking like Kenpo. They're more comfortable, rolling, positioning, and doing that system of choking people.
It's pretty damn effective.
That's what, it is effective, and it works for them. For me, I have a bad back. For me, rolling on the ground limits me because there's only so much I can do. For my Kung Fu friends, I had one say, I did karate for a while, and she said, I didn't feel like it was fulfilling me spiritually. I felt like there was more spiritual fulfillment in Kung Fu, and that's fine. It provided something for her that the other systems weren't. It's not wrong, For me, Kenpo's providing what I need. But I think that tends to break down the communication between all of us martial artists. Is we have this elitist mentality that our system's the best, and it should be the only system.
But that's like anything.
That's not the case at all.
But that's like anything. I mean, people do the same thing with religion or musical tastes or, their political party. Everyone's got their thing that they think is better than everyone else's.
Sure.
Yes.
So, Justin, let me play devil's advocate for just a second. Now, Kenpo being it's close to a traditional martial art. Of course, has traditional martial arts origins, and Mr. Parker took it amongst himself and tightened some things up and added a little bit of his own flair. But again, devil's advocate, do you feel that practicing only a traditional martial art instills a false sense of security in its students?
I always tell people that say, well, I only study traditional martial arts. I always say, well, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Because at one point of time, your traditional system was considered a modern and new system as well. So I always tell people, and that's one thing that I've enjoyed about Kenpo personally, it adapts. It adapts to what the threat is. And I actually was discussing this with a very high-ranking black belt in Kenpo that we're having to adjust because the attacks are adjusting in every day. With MMA, with the UFC gyms opening up, anyone can go in and take an MMA class and learn how to do a combo, a punch-kick combo. So now we don't necessarily have a drunken Sam technique where they're just swinging with a right hook and nothing else is being followed up. The game is changing. Just as, I hear so many fighters discussing how the game is constantly changing in the ring. The same is happening outside the ring. Now, granted, there's a lot of things to be learned from traditional systems, I think. I'm by no means trying to take anything away from traditional systems, but I really think that if you train, if you're training for out on the street, you have to be aware of what's going to be out on the street, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And as I said, it all comes down to what came first, the chicken or the egg. Martial arts goes as far back as humans. I mean, if you think about it, as long as we've been having to defend ourselves, we've been pretty much practicing martial arts.
Sure.
It's just had different names.
I just Googled which came first, the chicken or the egg, and I can't get a straight answer.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. There's no straight answer. And so when you say, well, is it traditional or modern? Well, at one point of time, traditional was modern. And, and the modern is based off of tradition. We didn't just pull this, out of thin air. Where did the modern come from? Oh, well, we picked out what was more applicable.
Yeah, it's an evolution.
We selected that. Yes, exactly.
Just like anything, right? I mean, everything evolves.
Yes.
That's why we're not still rocking horse and buggies. We evolved. We figured out a better way to do it.
Yes, exactly. And so so you can't really go back and say, well, you should be studying in traditional form. What I think people really should be discussing is how do we sort out what is good, applicable self-defense and good, applicable martial arts, and what is McDojo work? And to clarify what McDojo means, yes, McDojo is pretty much a dojo that functions like McDonald's.
Yeah, it's a filler.
It'll give you stuff, but it's not really sustenance. Yes, it's not really causing someone to grow. Mm-hmm. It's a business that's milking people for money. It's giving them a false sense of security, and it's creating bullies. It's causing a whole bunch of problems for the martial arts community, regardless of what system you're in. So really, I don't think it's about, necessarily differentiating from what's best from each system. It's how do we look and say, man, this isn't working for me. How do we help the people that don't realize that they're in a bad system?
Yeah. Well, so how do people know what are the warning signs if somebody who wants to get into any specific martial art and they're looking for a dojo? How do you know you're not going to a dojo where the sensei is just some hack that's trying to make money?
For me, I've always stressed, and I've brought it up in a lot of my articles, I've always stressed, do your research. Do your research and see what system do you want to do. You can't just go into like a jiu-jitsu school and say, oh, I want to learn how to punch. Well, we don't really do that, You got to know what you're getting yourself into. Well, do you want to do self-defense or do you want to compete eventually? What is it that you're looking to do? And then when you go in, the best thing you can do is ask questions. Question them. Mm-hmm. Someone that is very confident in their system, confident in their knowledge and their training is not going to be afraid to answer questions. They're going to give you the best answers possible. And that's how they're going to roll. The other people are going to skirt around it. They're not going to want to answer because they don't have the answers. They don't know. They've watched this video of someone doing Tae Kwon Do kicks online, and they're going, oh, well, I can practice that, but they don't understand why they're kicking like that.
Yeah.
They don't understand, the theory behind it. And so if you're asking the questions, if they have absolutely no concept of the theory or the relativity of how this is supposed to work, you jump ship. It's like going to a doctor. If you go to a doctor and say, I need a heart bypass, and he goes, okay, and you start asking him, well, how is this going to work? And he can't tell you, are you going to let him operate on you?
Yeah, especially if you're the one going to the doctor telling him that you need a heart bypass. You diagnosed yourself.
Yeah. It's just about being knowledgeable what you're talking about and like what you're invested in and having the knowledge to explain it and talk about it. And unfortunately, not everybody's like that. They just feel like they can talk about stuff that they have no idea what they're talking about.
I got to tell you, I'm really happy to hear you say that, Jesalyn, and that, Kenpo and other martial arts as well are very strong with self-defense techniques. Well, they'll say, and everybody's seen it in the movies, and Sarge and Frenzy, that you'll be able to relate to this, where you've seen, I don't know, even on Big Bang Theory, they started taking karate, they went up and they said, okay, assume position, and the instructor throws a punch, or actually, not the instructor, but the assailant, whether it's Howard or whoever it is, comes up, throws a punch, and he goes, no, not like that. You're supposed to throw it like this. And then he stops off and, throws a block and throws a punch. That's considered a self-defense technique. But just like Jesalyn just said, which very few people say this, if you don't understand the physics behind it and why you're doing it, how to drop your center of gravity, how to position yourself accordingly, how to make sure that your stance is balanced, how to make sure that you're creating the proper angles of, say, for instance, your forearm and your body, and make yourself a smaller target. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. But the bottom line is, if you don't understand why you're doing it, then you're not learning anything other than going through the motions, which, as Jesalyn talked about earlier, is very McDojo.
Yeah, so that's what basically separates that's what separates the legitimate guys from the hacks. Yeah.
Yes, and I've seen so many YouTube videos of, someone sitting on a punching bag, and they're just hitting with their left and right arm, just wailing away. And there's absolutely no power behind any of those punches, even though they're sitting on top of this person, because no one's actually taken the time to teach them proper body mechanics of how is this going to work? How do you maximize the strike each time you go? They think it's just, I'm just hitting as many times as I can. Well, I can hit you. You can hit me 3 times, and with no proper body mechanics, it's not really going to do anything. But if I turn around and use my power principles, use my body mechanics, and unleash one hit, it's going to hurt more than those 3. And that's the difference between the McDojos and a legitimate dojo. People, they don't understand the theory behind what we're doing. There's a reason why we do it the way we do.
They don't care. They just want to make money.
Yeah,
it's all about the
they're in it
bottom
for
line.
money. Exactly. That's like, taking your kid to soccer, and, a McDojo soccer would just have them running in circles, where, a legitimate soccer camp would be, teaching them the drills. Mm-hmm. This is, the drill we're going to do. This is how we're going to move the ball here. It seems like chaos to an untrained eye, but to a trained eye, it's organized chaos, So that's, for me, I feel like that's like the number one thing that I think the martial arts community should be addressing is how do we discuss that? And we can't, because no one's really having to be honest, the only systems that are having any type of discussion forum are the mixed martial arts communities.
Well, they're so damn popular.
No one else is really discussing. Yeah, they're going, hey, man, this guy came in throwing elbows, and I need to figure something out. Okay, well, let's look at systems that specialize in short-range weapons. Let's look at Muay Thai. Let's do this. They're being forced to have these discussions. The other systems are not being forced. They're living in the box, and they're not having to look outside. And that's the sad part is these other people, if they come and attack, they're going to have more weapons in their arsenal, because they haven't been exposed to that. So, and that was why I wanted to do Kenpo Girl, and I wanted to write is I knew I would be able to reach out to more people and talk to them about it than just going from one dojo to the next. By releasing these articles, right now I'm averaging about 3,000 readers every time I release a new article. And I look at it as those are 3,000 martial artists that if, they read the article and took the time to understand it, they're a couple points smarter because they've been exposed to something they had never been exposed to before, possibly. Mm-hmm.
That's phenomenal. I want to say congratulations on that, and good job on your part.
Thank you.
That is a significant reader base, and that's something definitely appreciable.
Thank you. Yeah, that has been the more I've done interviews, and as I do more articles on different systems, it grows even more. Because now it's not just about Kenpo. Now it's about Kenpo and Sumo. Now it's about Kenpo, Sumo, and Kung Fu. And it grows and grows and grows. I'm currently working on an article about MMA, going to actual fights and watching live fights. And it's featuring Jennifer Waters, who's a MMA fighter from the East Coast. So she's helping me with that. She's going to be my next interview. And we have different stuff going on like that for everyone. It's always a different article that's coming up. It's never the same thing over and over again. And I think that's why everyone's so intrigued with it. They're like, oh, God, what is she talking about now? So
that's awesome. So you've got your website, kenpogirl.com.
Yes.
And that's where you can find pretty much all your writing, correct?
Yes. Now, whenever I write my articles, they do pop up on my Facebook and my Twitter account and my Instagram account. So any social media, they'll be able to see my articles and get caught up on what's going on. So I'm kind of all over the place right now. It started off with my Facebook account. Then I did my Instagram account because I was doing the pictures, and once I did my website, I started having people, hey, I'm on Twitter more than Facebook. Can you start a Twitter account? Okay. And it's just grown from there. I mean, I just started a Snapchat account, and that's been an interesting experience. So, it's growing. But if you go to KenpoGirl.com, I have all of my social media listed there, so you can get referred to wherever. And if you Google Kenpo Girl, all of it pops up on Google too. So
gotta love.
Let me ask you this: what do you use, Jesalyn? And this is outside of the martial arts talk, if you don't mind. And Sarge, if you want to cut this out or tell me to shut up, please, by all means.
Completely open.
Curious, what do you use to manage all of your various social media accounts?
Right now, I have tried Hootsuite, and that worked for a while, but it doesn't connect to my Instagram account.
What was it?
So pretty much Hootsuite, HOOTSUITE, I believe at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Hootsuite, yes. So I tried them for a while, but because I had so many venues, it started getting too complicated.
Yes.
So pretty much when I post everything, I go through Weebly for my blog, and it automatically is connected to my Twitter and my Facebook. So really the only one that I have to really manually manage myself is my Instagram account. So I'm slowly getting the system going. And I'm a personable person. I want to talk to my fans, my followers. I'm always open to feedback and everything. So I do keep it run as a one-girl show because I want to have communication with these people. I'm always telling everyone, if there's feedback you have, whether it's positive or negative, let me know. The only thing that I do tell people, and I've been very adamant about this on my Facebook about trollers, is someone can be watching a video I post, and my videos are not meant to be educational. They're meant to be inspirational. Someone can see it and comment, oh, that was lousy form on this, and, your footwork was off, and they'll dissect it because everyone is an expert online. It doesn't bother me. What bothers me is there's a lower rank belt out there that could be seeing that and think, man, if she can't do it, there's no way I could do it. And it puts them down. And Kenpo Girl was meant for everyone to encourage them. I'm a single mom. My age has come up. I'm 28 years old. I'm a single mom. I work full time. And I find time to get on the mat and work out. And if that's an inspiration for a single mom out there that wants to get out and do it, then by all means, go do it. Don't let someone hold you back, Mm-hmm. And that's always been my biggest thing on all of that is the feedback. You can blast me up and down all you want. I don't care, otherwise I wouldn't be posting it. Mm-hmm. But I don't want someone to see the feedback and get discouraged, if that makes sense.
So
yeah.
So what's the next step for Kenpo Girl? What's in your future?
Well, I'm going to be doing more articles for 2017. Going to be a lot more traveling around, and who knows who I'm going to meet in the future. I always felt like that was the coolest part of it. I never know what's going to be around the corner. I am going to be doing some T-shirts. We had a T-shirt contest a couple of months ago, and we are going to be handing out a couple of free T-shirts. I just wanted to get a good design through for everyone that everyone would like. So everyone can keep their eyes open for that. the event on my Kenpo Girl webpage, there is an event tab where you can go on there and see upcoming martial arts events that have been sent to me to post up. There's also a page for dojos near you. And this is a listing of different martial arts dojos on there that teach that I have gone to and seen and watched class and talked to them, and I can verify that they're not McDojos.
Yeah, I was going to say
they're legit.
They're Kenpo Girl approved.
They're Kenpo Girl approved. They got the seal of approval. So you can go on there and check them out. So Kenpo Girl's growing. This is all. I haven't even had the actual website going for a year yet, and I'm already averaging about 3,000 readers. So it's going places.
Yeah.
I just tell everyone I'm along for the ride. So you guys just kind of got to tag along for the ride too.
So let me ask you this real quick, and then I'll shut up.
Shut up, Larry.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I kid.
Wow, another woman that tells me to shut up.
We're all turning on him. It's a cannibalistic moment.
Right?
Don't eat Larry. Girls, don't eat Larry.
No,
Reach out, Sarge. Take me by the hand. Hey, so, once you get your rank, and by rank I mean your first degree black belts, will you evolve from Kenpo Girl to Kenpo Woman?
Actually, I will always be Kenpo Girl, and let me explain why, because I've had so many people say, why aren't you Kenpo Woman? There is a Kenpo Woman. And for the life of me, right this second, I will remember it at 2 o'clock in the morning. Actually, Grandmaster Bob White, I believe, I can't remember if I believe he's a 10th or a 9th. His daughter, anyways, I'm chasing rabbits. His daughter actually has a website called Kenpo Women that's dedicated to women in Kenpo. Black belts in Kenpo that are females. And that, I believe, I was talking to Mr. White about it and his wife. It started out as her black belt thesis, and it was talking about women that are black belts in Kenpo. And so her page is dominantly for Kenpoists. And, I tell everyone, check it out still. Even if you're not a Kenpoist, there's always something to be learned. Never turn your nose up at anything. But I've had people ask me, why aren't you Kenpo Woman? Well, that's not what they called me. They called me Kenpo Girl. And I don't want to step on anyone's toes.
Yeah, and you are a girl, so, it works.
Well, I'm not complaining.
Girl.
I wouldn't mention it at all.
The only other option is Kenpo Lady. You'd be Kenpo Gal, Kenpo Lady.
It's so funny. My 5-year-old son calls him... he calls himself Kenpo Guy. I say, okay, you can be Kenpo Guy. He's going to be the Kenpo Guy, and I'm going to be the Kenpo Girl. So, yeah.
And you'll fight crime together at night.
Yes, he can be my little sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it.
He would love that. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're well over an hour here.
I know, we did pretty good.
Yeah, this is great. This is a lot of fun. Learned a hell of a lot. And do you got anything? Any other shout outs you wanna give?
I pretty much. Hello to everyone listening from Double Dragon. Hello to everyone from True Lineage. We have some exciting stuff coming up for the Planis Lineage this summer. We're actually going to be in Vegas for a big event. So if anyone's listening from the Planis Lineage, I'll see you in June. And, just hello to everyone. I always feel weird giving a shout out to everyone because I'm so open on my Facebook and all my other social media. I pretty much say hi to anyone anyway. So, hello everyone.
And you can find all your writing and that at kenpogirl.com.
Mm-hmm.
And where can everyone find you on your social media, your other social media like Facebook and Twitter and such?
My Facebook is facebook.com/Kenpo Girl. My Instagram's a little bit more tricky. It's Jesalyn's _Kenpo_Girl. because that one's a little bit more tricky, like I said, if you go to thekempogirl.com, there is a link to my Instagram, and you can do it that way. My Twitter account is @thekempogirl. So all of that's accessible. I try to keep everything as simple as possible because I know everyone's lives gets crazy and they want a simple click. So all of that's pretty much found on KempoGirl.com.
Beautiful. Check out that website, people. There's definitely some very, very good material, and I guarantee you're not going to leave that website without learning something.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. That's the goal.
And Larry, let's give a shout out to our wonderful guest host this evening, the beautiful, silky-voiced Larry Roberts.
Oh, yeah.
Larry.
Oh, and your voice just sounds so much more sultry this evening. Now
Well,
that
it's late.
yeah, well, you have your audio set up a little better this time.
Yes, I figured out the issue from last night. We need to record once you get an opening in your schedule. We need to just do another accidentally the whole tip episode because I got to be honest, I wasn't overwhelmed with the sound of the audio on the episode that we posted today. It wasn't terrible, but it's not really up to snuff, and I think you probably agree.
I'm down anytime, man.
Cool.
I love it. Larry, you're the host of Accidentally the Whole Tip podcast, and you want to let people know where they can find that real quick?
Yeah, you can check us out on iTunes. You can check us out on Facebook. We also have an Instagram. Kenpo Girl thought she was all that, but we have it too. So we're on Twitter actively every hour. On the hour, we'll throw a tweet at you with our current episode. We release new episodes every Monday, 8 a.m., so check it out. And
you got a website.
Oh, yeah, that too. Well, I wasn't pushing the website because it's kind of under reconstruction. But it's actually thewholetip.com.
It's still HQ. That's your headquarters.
It is going to be a second grand opening of our HQ at accidentallythewholetip.com. Awesome. It's active right now. I'm just not overly excited about it. So. Yeah. Facebook is it. Matter of fact, Kenpo Girl, I made a video just for this episode, I don't know, a couple hours ago.
That video was awesome. Did you see that?
I saw it. I was like, yes.
I was like, what? There's no other better promo for this episode than Larry in his gi.
Heck yeah, I had to pull that thing out of the back closet.
That was beautiful.
Like, I know it's somewhere.
Oh, that was awesome.
Nice.
Best promo ever. Kenpo Girl,
yes.
you got to feel pretty special. Larry,
I do. I feel very flattered. Thank you.
I had fun.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Larry and Jesalyn, Kenpo Girl, thank you for being with us. This has been absolutely awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been cool. It was really good talking to all you guys, and it was nice meeting you, Larry.
You too, and I'm blown away by your dedication and your overall knowledge of American Kenpo Karate. You're definitely legit in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
You're Sarge approved.
There you go.
You're a badass.
Approved. Look at that.
You're basically a Sarge approved badass.
There you go.
Card carrying.
Oh, snap.
We've got a couple of badasses here, Larry and Jesalyn.
I know. I was all like, wow, Larry's in his gi. And I'm getting off of work, and I'm not in my gi. I felt underdressed. So.
Yeah, me and Frenzy went and bought gis just for this episode. We're wearing gis right now, too.
Nice.
Oh, snap.
Little role play never hurt anybody.
Yo.
I also bought some nunchucks, maybe, and a staff.
Yeah, she was practicing her nunchuck skills, and she has a lot of bruises now.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know what? I get bruises and I call them Kenpo kisses. They're nunchuck kisses.
Yeah, I like that. I love
it.
Good. Nice.
I love it.
Tell my wife about those. No, honey. Those are Kenpo kisses.
Those are just little kisses. It's okay. Don't worry about
it. Well, we would definitely, obviously, love to have both of you on again, whether together or separate. We definitely would love to have you on again, and you have some books that are coming out in the future. We'd like to have you on once those are released.
Absolutely.
So we can talk about that. And some children's books. You're starting some children's books.
Yes, I have a couple of books. I actually have a novel published and some short stories, but I have children's books coming out this summer. So those are in the process of being illustrated and getting everything edited and rolling. So I would love to come back and, talk to you guys about it and get that ball rolling.
Awesome. That'd
be awesome. Cool. I like it.
What's your novel? The one that's published.
My novel is called Fabled Desires.
Fabled Desires.
And it released a little over 2 years ago, and it's an urban fantasy. It's got a lot of fighting and action in it. It's based on people in modern-day time that are descendant from ancient gods and have special gifts. So
like Highlanders.
It's a pretty cool book. Yes. I've had a lot of people that, I've had so many people read it. I have a lot of women that buy it and read it, and then their husbands read it, and they're like, wow, this was actually really good. There's a lot of fight scenes. And I go, well, yeah, Kenpo Girl wrote it. Of course there's fight scenes.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. All right, well, we're going to check that out then. Where can you find that book at?
It's available online at Amazon in Kindle and paperback, and it's available through Barnes & Noble for Nook and paperback as well.
Awesome. Fabled Desires.
Yes.
Fabled Desires. All right, we're going to check that out. We're going to get ourselves a copy.
Absolutely. Sweet.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, you just let us know when you get those T-shirts made too, because I'll be the first in line to buy one of those bad boys.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yes. You guys will know all about it. I promise.
Beautiful.
Okay,
both of you.
good.
We want to rock some merch from both Accidentally the Whole Tip and Kenpo Girl.
Heck yeah.
There you go.
All day. I'll sleep in that shit.
There
It'll be
go.
like my jammies.
My jammies.
All right. Again, thank you so much. This has been an absolute blast. I loved it. This might be my new favorite episode.
Aww.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I love learning something every time we do one of these things. I love being able to laugh and learn something at the same time. And you guys have definitely provided that this evening. So
cool.
Thank
deal.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Jesalyn, make sure to listen to the song at the end of the episode because it's totally awesome and badass.
Yeah. We picked a good song for you.
Oh, okay.
We always play a song at the end of the episode by an amateur musician or band. Help get their name out there too. But we try to make it fit with our guests. So
that's it. You try to make it fit. So what's
yours.
Read into mine?
Pigeon shit. Oh,
they stuck a song called Pigeon Shit on the end of my episode.
Yeah, that's because we knew that you'd be cool with it and you'd appreciate it.
All right, yes, I did.
Yeah, we weren't trying to describe you or something.
We found that song a long time ago, and
That's
we knew
hilarious.
that once we heard it, we were like, "This song's awesome."
Yeah.
And we are gonna find the most perfect guest to have this be their song, and you were it.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
you're welcome.
We've been
You're
sitting on
super
that
welcome.
song. We've been sitting on that song for a while, Larry.
That's hilarious. Hey, I'm gonna plug somebody else that if you like amateur music and you like songs like Pigeon Shit, then you would like The Dirty Show. They were a guest of ours, and I'm still friends with them on Facebook. Wouldn't mind having them back, actually. It is DIRRTY, The Dirty Show.
Okay.
Check them out. You'll like it. They're on YouTube performing there, and actually at dirtyshow.com. You can check out all their stuff there, too. They're hilarious. It's two chicks. And they're awesome. You'll love it.
Okay, we'll definitely check that out.
Sweet.
All right. Boom. All right. That was our guest, Jesalyn Mae Harper, a.k.a. Kenpo Girl, and our guest host, Larry Roberts, host of Accidentally the Whole Tip podcast. Check out his podcast. It's absolutely badass. Larry Roberts is a good friend and a very talented individual, a man of many talents. Not only does he have that silky smooth voice and his podcast, but he is a 25-year veteran of multiple martial arts styles. American Kenpo, one of the big ones. and he provided a very valuable role in our episode tonight.
Contribution.
Contribution.
If you will.
Helping us facilitate the conversation with the Kenpo Girl, Jesalyn Mae Harper. We couldn't have done it without him. We really couldn't. We would have been lost without him. Kenpo Girl was full of knowledge, and I mean, she really did surprise us with how well her knowledge is and how experienced she is, and Larry really helped us out with that. So thank you, Larry. Thank you, Jesalyn, for being with us. And you can find our episodes on Twitter. You go to Twitter and follow us at Sarge Approved. Like our page on Facebook. You can find our episodes on our website,
www.sargeapproved.com.
Damn right. You can YouTube,
Instagram,
Spreaker, YouTube. Do we say YouTube?
I just said YouTube.
SoundCloud. We're on Audio Mac. We're all over the place. Just type in Sarge Approved. You're going to find us. I guarantee it. And you can find all the past episodes of all our awesome guests. And while you're online, you might as well mosey on over to National Survival Center and get yourself some badass gear. These guys have pretty much everything under the sun when it comes to camping or survival preparation. You know, they've got things like binoculars and knives and swords, even though you might not ever need a sword. They've got survival kits and gun cleaning kits. They got free shipping on damn near everything, I think, except survival food.
Yep.
All the gear is name brand, top of the line stuff, and it's hand tested by the owners themselves. And it's the same kind of stuff you're going to find in all the big box stores, but it's going to be a lot cheaper because these guys, the owners of National Survival Center, their focus is not on profit and making a bunch of money. Obviously, they want to make some money, but the goal is to get some high quality gear out there to the people at a price that you're not going to find if you're going into the big box store. So check them out at nationalsurvivalcenter.com or Survive Don't Suffer. That's their motto. National Survival Center. Survive, don't suffer.
Yeah, either way, don't suffer, don't do it. Just buy all the things. That's good.
Yeah. All right. Coming up on the guest list is Kevin Goatee, a comedian. We got him joining us on February 7th. He's got a couple of podcasts. He's got that Sportsbook podcast, and he's got that show Comics Watching Comics. So look forward to that on February 7th, and the episode will be posted the next day. So don't miss it. All right. Thanks for being with us, guys. Thanks for listening, and I hope you learned a little something. Have a good night.
Bye.
Later, fuckers. We're going to play this episode out with a song by Wildebeest called True Fighter. It's for you, Kenpo Girl.
Yo, I'm a true fighter, probably die in the ring in the land of the blind. A man with one eye is king. I bring a show that's so strong, smoke to the drills gone, flow like the waves that no one rode on. This shit is so wrong. Check it. Throw bombs while I aim missiles. Games official frames can rearrange and melt away your brain tissue. Issues, yeah, I got a lot. I gotta stop, smoke a lot of pot. So much people swear that I got a spot, and yeah, I gotta stop. I'm not afraid of karma. My road is paved with honor. Hit your ribcage through your armor. Darts are sharp like laser barbers. Horror and terror made me smarter than ever. However, my endeavor trying to get farther and better. Whatever.
The League Crew.
Check it. Yeah. Da 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 da. La da da. Check it. Yo. They ask me what I'm showing the kids. Go from the soul with no dough. It's hard to go through this biz. No need for me to show what I did, but you should slow your roll before you catch a blow to the ribs. You know how it is. Yo, check it. A lot of niggas go through a bid or end up dead. Yeah, you know it's hard to grow where I live. And you already know what it is. Smoke roll with my bros after a couple of swigs. That's how it is. Yo. Pigs patrolling and watching the block. And yes, these chicks is hoping to hop in the cock. And if the kink is open and drop from the top, then your click is hopeless. You gotta just watch. La da 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 da. La da da. Let them know what it is, yo. Word, Will the Beast, many levels, extra levels. Mick Boogie, Terry Urban, 6 Cents, Another Ground Music, Harlem, Puerto Rico, I don't know what else.